Michael?
I'm here.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Just looking, has the judge signed on yet?
She's on.
Okay. Okay, what's going on?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year. I see a few different faces.
Happy New Year, Your Honor.
Happy New Year, Your
Happy
Honor.
New Year.
Yes. All right, we'll get started. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. That can be a tongue twister sometimes. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to handle matters such as bond, possible arraignment, and consideration of possible plea offer if one has been made at this juncture. What is our, and I haven't opened my chat, our reset date?
It's January the 26th.
Okay, January 26th is our SAP reset date. I'm going to begin and advise everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. I want to also remind the defendants that you do have certain constitutional rights, one being a right to have representation at this juncture in your case. And most of you obviously at this point know who your attorneys are. You also have a constitutional right to remain silent. Anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, or the of your case can and will be held against you. So please govern yourselves accordingly and listen to your attorneys. All right, who do we have first, deputies?
Yes, we have position 6, Mr. Mack.
All right. This is 23 CR 000243J. Rodney Mack, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is January 13th, 2023. Pre-trial.
He has 40 cycles, 29 out of Georgia, 1 out of Wisconsin, 10 out of Ohio. He has an internal auto conviction from 2016, internal auto conviction in 2009, 2 counts, internal auto 2007, internal auto 1994. Has a battery conviction from 2009, a possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and possession and use of drug-related objects conviction in 2019. He has a financial transaction card theft conviction 2005, criminal trespass 2002, and the rest of his convictions are in the 90s. He does have a robbery conviction in the 90s out of Ohio. And that's
All right.
there.
Miracle Williams for the state, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $3,500 surety bond and a stay away from Bedford Pines Apartments located at 654 Boulevard Northeast, Atlanta 30308. Your Honor, on January 13th, Officer Henry was on patrol at Pines and observed an later identified as a defendant asleep in the hallway. He was advised by Mr. James Tate, who was a manager at the Bedford Pines Apartments, that he was not allowed to be there and that there was a previous criminal trespass with the date of September 9th, 2022 at that location as well.
All right, Mr. Coleman.
Coleman.
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. I would be requesting signature bond from Mr. Mack. He is 63 years of age. He does have an address here in Atlanta, Fulton County. He is a high school graduate, attended 3 years of college at Kent State University. He's currently employed at Brewdog as a line cook. This is a nonviolent offense. I remind the court at this time that these are just allegations against Mr. Mack. Again, nonviolent offense of criminal trespass. It looks like his last criminal trespass arrest or conviction was over 20 years ago. So again, I'd be requesting a signature bond.
Okay. All right, I am going to order a $3,500 signature bond through the jail. I am going to order a stay away from the Bedford Pines Apartments at 654 Boulevard Northeast. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I guess that will be it. Anything else, counsel, that I need to take up?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right,
No, Your
thank
Honor,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Coleman. Thank you.
Position 7, Ms. Raju.
Okay.
Raju.
Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel Crombie for Ms. Raju.
Okay. And you're private counsel or conflict?
I am private counsel, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, this is 23 CR 0002518. Charged with 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is January 13, 2023. Pre-trial?
First arrest.
Okay. All right, for the state, ASG, sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place at 3021 Gardner Drive in Alpharetta. Officers responded to this incident location and spoke with the victim, whose name is spelled Prashanth, and last name is Tirumalai. The victim informed officers that he was preparing food for the children of him and the defendant when the defendant did not like the way he was preparing the food. The defendant got upset and she grabbed kitchen utensils and began hitting the victim in his arm with those utensils. And Your Honor, when officers arrived, they did notice the fresh cuts and the open wounds on the victim's arms. The state does acknowledge that this is the defendant's first arrest. However, we will argue that there has not been sufficient cooling off time. This case did happen, or incident did happen yesterday, so it hasn't been sufficient cooling off period, as well as the risk of intimidating the victim. They are married and share children. And Your Honor, we will also just bring to your attention the cycle of violence. Our office did reach out to the victim. He informed us that this was a first-time occurrence and that the cuts did not come from this incident. However, again, officers did observe those fresh wounds based on the victim's statements himself. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, a stay away, 1-day anger awareness, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
All right. Mr. Crumby, it looks like I have the victim on Zoom. Do you want to go before or after the victim? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll let the alleged victim proceed.
Okay. Okay. Mr. And I will tell you to turn off your, I don't mean turn on your,
Unmute.
mute. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm sorry, I will not try to pronounce your last name because I really don't want to mispronounce it too terribly bad.
Yes. So
Would you like to address the court?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. So first of
Let
all,
me swear you. Hold on. Let me swear you in first.
okay.
Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You may proceed. You can put your hand down.
Yeah. So whatever happened yesterday was, it was more of, my son is extremely allergic, and, his food has to be prepared in a certain way. And we are very, very diligent about it. My wife has been taking care of him for 12 years. He's nonverbal autistic. She's completely sacrificed everything in her life just to take care of him at home. So she's very, very diligent in terms of his food and how it needs to be prepared. And sometimes when I take over stuff, I'm a little careless. So, and he has given me instructions a couple of times, but, my mind is preoccupied with work, with something else, and it backfires on my son very badly. So what happened yesterday was I completely messed up his food. I put like very, very hot stuff in plastic, which is like giving him a poison kind of thing, because, hot
Okay.
stuff.
Well, let me interrupt you a little bit. This is not a hearing regarding the facts. Just need to know about the level of harm and whether you have fear of the defendant and what type of contact you would like.
Oh, no. I want her home. She needs to be home with the children. I have no fear at all. We have been married for 12 years. It was just a one-off incident that just blew out of proportion yesterday. And even it was nothing. Whatever cuts I had in my hand, I already had those because I'm not very good at the kitchen. So I was trying to do something, cutting strawberries, and I had some cuts in my hand. That is kind of what happened. And she was just telling me on what I need to do in terms of doing stuff properly for him and how many times she needs to tell me all that. But she needs to be home for the children. I mean,
How many children do you have?
We have 2 children, ma'am. One is 11 years old. He is nonverbal autistic, and the other is 16 months.
Okay, 16 months. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any cross-examination? Sorry.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Anything, Mr. Crumby? You're still muted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing from us, Your Honor.
Okay. Please mute yourself again, and let's hear from the defense attorney, Mr. Crumby.
Your Honor, Mr. Raju is 38 years old. As you know, they're married with 2 children, 11 years old and a toddler. One of them is special needs, as the alleged victim has already mentioned. She's a United States citizen, and she's resided in the Atlanta metro area for over 10 years. In her native country, she was a doctor, and she pursued advanced education here in the United States. But currently, what she primarily does is take care of the children. She has extensive ties to the Atlanta area. Her husband and the alleged victim is the primary breadwinner in the family. It's our position that she is not a threat to flee nor a danger to the community. She does not have any criminal history. This is her first offense, and she intends to vigorously defend this case. As you've already heard from the husband, he wants his wife back at home, and he requested that a signature bond. And Your Honor, in this case, it's probably more prudent to put in a condition or a special condition of no violent contact with the husband. You've also heard from the husband talking about the nature and the origins of the cuts, in which will be disputed. He said it came from a prior incident. Your Honor, in talking to the husband who hired me in this case on behalf of his wife, I told him one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to fashion a plan. Fashion a plan that addresses marriage counseling and also addresses marriage anger management. Because looking at the allegation in this case and talking to the family, I see that is something that is definitely needed, that will get them beyond what's going on at home and preparing food. So, Your Honor, we would respectfully ask for a signature bond in this case.
All right. Normally, I say there needs to be a cooling down period. I'm not for sure, and maybe ASG, sorry, can tell me who called the police or how the police arrived.
Your Honor, we only have the warrant at the moment, but if you may ask the victim, who called police.
Okay. Mr.
Tirumalai.
Tirumalai.
Yeah.
Can you answer that question for me? Just that question?
Yeah, I called the police because, I had made a mistake and, I didn't want to things to go out of hand at home because, we are dealing with a special needs child at home and I didn't want things to go out of hand. And I also wanted to just take my stuff and go over to my friend's house and stay there for some time. So that's kind of why I made the call.
Okay.
That was... I actually, after calling, I just called my friend. I told him, hey, I'm going to come to your house for a day. I just wanted to primarily cool off because me and my wife have been married. I didn't want we have a lot of love in the house. I didn't want this to go into something else. So I was just calling more of a preventative measure. Nothing more than.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I did also want to mention, based on the warrant, the defendant did admit to fighting with her husband. So there is an admission in the warrant.
All right. And I guess, Mr. Crumby, my only concern is before I rule on the bond is the contact. And I understand that there's a 18-month-old, a 16-month-old child, so it's a toddler, small child, and a special needs child. So I do have concerns to make sure, obviously, that they're going to be taken care of and that there will be no future incidents for them to have to be there to witness or to be a part of. And I understand it's a mother, with a very small child, but, and I don't know if she has anywhere else to go live and if you pursued any options with her for that.
Your Honor, we have not discussed that. However, listening to the husband's testimony, it appears that he does have an option to go reside with his friend. And I'm sure if that would allow his wife to return home with the children and take care of them, that he would likely pursue that option for a period of time.
I don't normally order my victims to leave the home, as you know, right? But I do want the victim to be safe, obviously, and the children to be safe and taken care of.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the children really need their mother. Trust me on that. I'm the victim. I know why I made the call. I just wanted a small cool-off period. We've been married 12 years. It just went out of proportion yesterday. It's never happened before. And like I said, I panicked a little bit. Maybe my fault, but the children require their mother.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I think I hear the little one in the background. Let me do this. I'm going to order the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order no further violent contact with the victim in this case. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. and I'm going to order the anger awareness course through pretrial. And just want to make sure again that there's not going to be any further violent contact while on bond. And I'm doing something that I don't normally do, you know, in these cases.
And Your Honor, if we may explain violent contact to the defendant, so there's no violation of that.
Okay. Yes, you may.
Oh, would you like me to do?
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to. Well, you know, I can give my synopsis of it as well. And I didn't know if you, ASG Sorry, wanted to do that too. But, you know, no further violent contact. I mean, you know, if it rises to the level of shouting, in my opinion, that can turn violent. So again, you probably did the right thing by leaving the home as well. But I do know that you have the small children, but no arguments, no raising of voices, no shouting, because again, those things normally lead to violence. So if you can't get along, I don't normally order the victims to leave, obviously, but in this case, I would say do that so that you don't cause your wife to be back at the Fulton County Jail for a violation of her bond conditions. And I understand from your wife's attorney, you're going to start counseling and things of that nature. And I think that would obviously help to heal the relationship and get you through this so that we don't see you back down here again or see her back down here again. Anything else that you would like to add, ASG Sorry?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So good luck to you all. And again, I am ordering the anger awareness course as well. Through pretrial, they will explain that to her upon her release. All right. Anything else, Mr. Crumbing?
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Your Honor. Thank you so
All
much.
right. All right. You're welcome.
Position 11, Ms. Wellborn. Yes.
All right. This is 23 CR 0000249F. It's at Jordan Wellborn. You charge at one count of simple assault, the second count of battery with the offense date of January the 13th, 2023.
Miracle Williams for the state, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying Miracle Williams for the state.
Oh, no, I want to hear from pretrial first.
First arrest.
First arrest. All right.
Yes.
All right. Now go ahead. I'm sorry, ASG Williams.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Your Honor, the defendant, Mrs. Wellborn, went to her ex-boyfriend, Jalen Huff's house and confronted the victim, Miss Dupree, Auburn Dupree. That is AUBURN, last name DUPREE. She came to the home by entering the code to open the front door that she was previously given, although she had not been permitted to use it at that time on that day. But that allowed her to get into the home. She then subsequently broke into the bedroom where Miss Dupree was located. At that time, Miss Dupree advised that Miss Wellborn told her that she was going to quote unquote beat her ass before she left. And as Miss Dupree was trying to leave, that's when Miss Wellborn started hitting her with a closed fist in the face and pulling her hair. The victim advised that at some point, the defendant also picked up a knife, but did not swing it at her. However, she did pick up multiple other items as well and threw them at the victim, including a metal stool that struck the victim in her arm, causing a laceration. Mr. Huff's roommate, Mr. Miles, witnessed the entire incident and was attempting to stop the defendant and to remove her from the from the home. The state's recommendation in this case, Your Honor, on the simple assault is a $5,000 good bond with no further contact with Auburn Dupree, a stay away from 507 Bishop Street, Northwest Atlanta, 30318, and an anger management course. As to the battery charge, the state also recommends a $5,000 good bond and the aforementioned stay away.
Okay. All right, PD Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we do strongly deny the allegations at this time. I am going to be requesting a signature bond on Ms. Wellborn's behalf. Ms. Wellborn is 18 years of age. She has been a lifelong Georgia resident. She has family also residing in the state as well. Ms. Wellborn completed high school. She's gainfully employed at the University Child Care Center, where she's been working for the past 5 months. Your Honor, given Mrs. Wellborn's lack of criminal history, specifically lack of any violent history, I am asking for the signature bond and that Ms. Wellborn be given the opportunity to return back to work since she's been employed there and she's unsure on whether or not her employment will still be in place if she's held in custody. She's 18 years of age again, Your Honor. She's living on her own. She has her own apartment in which she is paying rent. I believe she also shares that residence with a sister. I'm not sure if she's providing for the sister or not, but that's what she expressed to me. So again, I am asking for a signature bond. If the court is not inclined, then I'm asking for a bond, no more than $500 on each count.
All right. I do see an Auburn Dupree who has signed in. I don't know if she wishes to address the court or not.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, can you turn on your camera? All right. Ms. Dupree, if you wish to address the court, I will swear you in. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. What type of, are you in fear of Ms. Wellborn?
I am. Even while it was all going down, she
Yeah,
never.
I would object to any testimony regarding the incident and ask that any questions or any response be limited to whether or not she's in fear of Ms. Wellborn and any contact.
All right, and I so noted, I will tread very light, very little. This is not the trial. This is just a bond hearing. So if it relates to the type of contact and the impact upon you, then I will hear that testimony.
I mean, yes, I am terrified of her.
All right.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt Miracle Williams State, but per the victim's Bill of Rights, the victim is allowed to speak to you and let you know, Your Honor, as to what occurred on that day that might not have been in the report.
Okay. And I'm assuming you probably don't know or may not know what's in the report. But in order for me to understand the impact upon you, you're stating again that you are in fear, you're terrified. Anything else you would like to add as far as your fear of no further contact, obviously, with Ms. Wellborn? Anything else that you would like to say?
I mean, it's only been one day, but I have like nightmares about it. Like, I don't know PTSD, but I have symptoms of it. And I play softball here at Georgia Tech, and I have to get an x-ray on my elbow and a MRI on my neck after all of it went down. So
you are a student?
I am a student athlete, and I have to see a psychiatrist because of all of it.
And at the time you were at is it your boyfriend's apartment, Mr. Huff, or no?
No.
Okay, so at this address that we have, the 507 Bishop Street, whose address is that?
It's Jalen Huff's, my friend.
Oh, your friend, okay.
Yeah.
And do you reside there or you reside somewhere else?
I live somewhere else.
Okay, so you don't reside at the 507 Bishop Street?
Correct.
Okay. And is the defendant also a friend of Mr. Huff's? Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And do you know Mr. Pre? Would you have any other occasions after today to be around Mr. Pre?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you have any other occasions after this incident to be around Mr. Pre? Do you know her?
Miss Wellborn, Your Honor.
This,
I'm sorry, Miss Wellborn.
I mean, with him playing sports, we will be at the same, like, he plays football, so I will attend games. Being on campus, I'm assuming she would show up. I'm not sure, but anywhere on campus.
Okay. And I didn't ask, Ms. Thomas, is Ms. Wilborn a student as well? I don't
Ms.
think you said
Wellborn
that.
is not a student at Georgia. I believe Georgia Tech is what was
Yeah,
stated. to
Georgia
school.
Tech.
No, she is not.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give a signature bond and put some conditions, obviously, on that for Ms. Wilborn. I'm going to give a $6,000 signature bond. That's $3,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order, and I'm sorry, that signature bond is through pretrial. I didn't say that. Per judge.
May I speak?
I'm giving my ruling. Does it relate to my ruling?
I don't
No.
think.
Okay,
It has
so,
something to do with it, yeah.
okay, well, hold till I finish my ruling and then I'll let you speak. It's a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial, $3,000 on each charge. I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course through pretrial. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away. I'm torn a little bit from the incident location, and I don't know what the state's feeling is about that.
Your Honor, being that that is Mr. Huff's residence, the state would ask that there be a stay away from Georgia Tech.
Right, and that's where I was, right.
Yes, yes, Your Honor, the entire Georgia Tech campus.
I think we're on the same page, and that was why I asked that question, if the defendant was a student or not. And since the defendant is not a student at Georgia Tech, then she has no reason to be on the campus. And I'm assuming, is this Bishop Street on campus or just near campus? Not on campus, near campus? Okay, okay. And so I'm going to order that the defendant, Ms. Wellborn, to stay away from the Georgia Tech campus and to obviously have no further contact with the victim, Auburn Dupree. She's to not come in contact with her in any manner. She's not to reach out on social media. I think our order says she is not to have any other third parties to contact her. No internet, no Facebook, no any means of social media contact with Ms. Dupree. So we want to make sure that you are safe, Ms. Dupree. And did I say no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond?
You did, Your Honor.
Okay. And anything else, counsel, that I need to take up?
Your Honor, I would also ask that being that Ms. Dupree is a student athlete, that there also be a stay away from any Georgia Tech athletic events that might be held off campus.
Okay, that could be a broad sweep there. And if I say any off-campus games, and she has to stay away from the victim. So if there's a game, I don't know if Georgia Tech plays Morehouse, for instance, and she can't go to that game, but as long as she's, what is my yardage, Ms. Bridgewater, is it 100 yards or 200 yards away?
I think it's 200.
200. So she would be 200 yards away from Ms. Dupree. I'm going to say on campus as opposed to off campus, because I think that's a little too broad at this moment. And of course, she knows if Ms. Wellborn sees Ms. Dupree, she is to go the other way and stay away, or else she'll be right back at this Fulton County jail. And so we want to make sure of that. If she is at an off-campus game, she's got that yardage that she must stay away, and you know, make sure that she does that. But any on-campus events or just the campus period. She's not to come onto the Georgia Tech campus for any reason since she's not a student, okay? I'm gonna make sure we're clear on that. One last thing, Mr. Pre, did you have a question or have I answered it?
I have a question, I guess, in it. First, it was not the first time, like this was a planned, like she had planned to attack me. She said on.
Excuse me, I'm gonna have to object for speculation.
Now, I thought you had a question, and your question being, is it a question about the contact or what's going to be in this bond order as far as any contact with you?
No.
Okay, so I want to make sure that you're going to feel safe, obviously, and that you will be safe. That is our duty here, is to protect you, to make sure that you're going to be safe. That's why these safeguards are in place in the bond order. But is there any other thing that you're asking for or requesting per this bond order that would make you feel safe while she is out on the signature bond?
No.
Okay, and if you see her and she's closer than she's supposed to be, or you get any contact through any social media or anything like that, then you need to call the police and let them know, okay?
Okay.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, thank you. That will conclude this case.
Was there a stay away from Jalen Huff as well, or just Mr. Pre?
It was just Mr. Pre. The state did not request from Mr. Huff. I don't know if he's threatened by it or not, but he wasn't listed as a victim. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. But the stay away did include the Georgia Tech campus, which would include any of his athletic events on campus, as Your Honor stated.
Okay, no
If
problem.
she can't come on campus, then she will not see Mr. Huff unless it's off campus.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
All right, next we got number 9, Mr. Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Your Honor, I think we're gonna possibly need a brief breakout for this position, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get back home.
Who is that? Is that Mr. Smith? That's on the jail court's iPhone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, let's make sure he's muted. Can we get a quick breakout, Mr. Jordan? With PD Thomas, myself. Is this your case, ASG Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone else in the breakout? Nope, just us.
Yes, DSG Rhodes.
Oh, okay, DSG Rhodes, thank you.
Can we go to courtroom 2? What happened? They got a break. It was break. Oh. I didn't know the judge had to go too.
All right, Mr. Smith. We've discussed your case and my ruling for your 1 count of criminal trespass. And that's, we're going to give you a $500 surety bond. And we're going to order that you stay away from the Georgia Tech campus because you've already been given a trespass order to stay away from there until July 3rd of 2027. So you are definitely not to go back onto that campus, okay? And if you get out on bond, don't go back there. We're going to have some evaluations done for you. And but right now I'm going to give you a $500 good bond, and make sure that if and when you get out, you do not return to Georgia Tech, or else you'll just be rearrested again. And then we're going to refer you to a competency calendar, okay? All right, have a good one.
Position 1, Mr. Brown.
Okay.
And Your Honor, this is a dual arrest or a co-defendant case, excuse me, with position 4. So I don't know if you want to hear both cases together.
Okay. That's Jason Jackson.
No, it's Lee, Tyrell Lee.
Position 5.
Yeah, that's my 5.
5, okay, sorry.
Deputies, do you have that case coming behind this one by chance?
I do.
You do? Okay. All right. Yes. So we can do them both. They're back to back. So that's fine. All right. Position 1 is 23 CR 000-244C. Mr. Brown, your charge, it looks like that name may be Zydario, charged at 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is January the 13th, 2023. And then position 5 is 23 CR 000-248C, Tyrell Lee, charged at 1 count of criminal trespass on January 13, 2023. All right, pretrial.
Mr. Brown has 11 cycles. He was in felony this morning for a aggravated assault, family violence. That case number is 23 CP 215430. He received no bond and felony. He has 2 FTAs, 2017, 2016, 3 probation violations, well, 4 probation violations, 2 in 2018, 1 in 2019, 1 in 2017. And then he has 1 conviction. I'm sorry, he has a 2017 conviction out of Clayton County. And then he appears to be on probation out of Fulton County for 3 separate cases that were sentenced. 2 separate cases that were sentenced on the same date. Theft by taking and battery, 16 SC 143340 and 16 SC 141305. Disposition was August 2016, 10 years probation. And then he's on another theft by taking probation out of Fulton, 18 SC 163449. The disposition was March 2019, 5 years probation, and nothing further.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to kind of do them both together, Ms. Roberts, on the other case, Tyrell Lee.
Yes, ma'am. He has
Okay.
10 cycles.
Okay.
His last arrest was from August of 2021 for a probation violation. He does appear to be on probation out of Newton County for possession of meth and sale of marijuana. The disposition of that was February 17th of 2021. The marijuana was 10 years probation. The meth was 3 years probation. He has 2 FTAs, 2021, 2019, and then 2 theft by shoplifting convictions, both in 2019.
Okay.
And nothing further.
All right, thank you. All right, go ahead, ASG, sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 4995 Cascade Hill Circle in Atlanta. The defendant and his other 2 co-defendants, that's Tyrell Lee and Daenerys Jackson, they were all seen forcibly entering into a house at this incident location, and that was through a garage door. Once inside, Your Honor, they ended up changing the locks to this back door. This property was a rental property, and the manager of the property did confirm that they changed the locks to the door. As we've heard from pretrial regarding position 1, this defendant does present a risk of reoffending. He has multiple probation violations, multiple theft convictions in his history. Specifically from 2016, he had a robbery by force where he used his first offender. And again, yes, he was sentenced to 10 years probation, so he has violated that multiple times. He is a risk of flight, as we've heard, the 2016, 2017, and I also have a 2023 FTA. And that open ag assault, it is a family violence case. So we are concerned that he is a violent offender, Your Honor. Our recommendation for position 1 is $2,500 surety, a stay away, no contact with the co-defendants, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. For position 5, Your Honor, he also presents a risk of reoffending. He has multiple theft convictions. I have a 2019 theft by shoplifting NOLO, as well as a guilty conviction. He's a multi-county offender. I have a 2021 FTA out of Douglas County and a 2021 probation violation, as well as that arrest in Newton County. The state's recommendation in his case is also a $2,500 surety, stay away, no contact with the co-defendants, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Okay. All right, and who's representing Mr. Brown?
That would be me, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Brown. He is 25 years of age. He does have an address here in Atlanta, Fulton County. He is a high school graduate, currently employed at Church's Chicken. He has a very low salary, therefore he has no money to post for bond. Regarding his criminal history, appears he has 2 FTAs, but the last was some 5 years ago. The purpose of bond is to secure the defendant's appearance in court, since his last FTA was some 5 years ago, and this is a nonviolent offensive criminal trespass. I would be requesting signature bond.
And Your Honor, I have a 2023 FTA, so that was noted in his GCIC.
Okay. All right, I am going to order the $2,500 surety bond. And I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the 4995 Cascade Hills Circle. And no further contact with the other co-defendants in this case. Anything else, counsel?
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing
right,
for
thank you.
position 1.
All right, and position 5, which is Tyrell Lee.
Yes,
I'm
Your
going. Oh, yes. All right. I'm sorry, Ms. McLeod. Please proceed. I didn't. Anything else, ASG, sorry with this case, because you presented on both, making sure.
Nothing,
Okay.
unless we will reserve a rebuttal.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
My
Ms.
client is
McLeod.
32 years old, Your Honor. He has no significant criminal history. He tells me that he's unable to work because he is disabled, Your Honor, so he has no income as such. He can do little odd jobs here and there, but he is unemployed because he is unable to work. I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting a bond for him. He also tells me that he was at this location because his brother asked him to come over and help him to clean this new place that he had rented. So he went there because his brother asked him to come and help him clean. He doesn't live there or anything. He was not on notice about any so-called irregularities. And he told me that he actually had a key, which was given to him by his brother, and that was how he entered the property. Your Honor, he doesn't have any money, as I said, to pay bonds. I would ask the court to give him a signature bond. This is a nonviolent offense. And he does have a good reason why he was at the location. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I'm going to order the $2,500 surety bond. Gonna order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order stay away from the same incident location, 4995 Cascade Hills Road. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
And Your Honor, we will ask the no contact with the co-defendants.
Oh, and no further contact with the other co-defendants in the case.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, that should conclude this case.
Position 4, Mr. Jackson.
This is 23 CR 0000250G. Jason Jackson, you're charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, and a 2nd count of battery, both with the offense date of 11/21/2022. Pre-trial.
He has 9 cycles, 3 out of North Carolina, 1 out of Missouri, 3 out of Illinois, 2 out of Georgia. His last arrest was on April 23rd, 2021 out of Missouri for domestic assault. There's no disposition.
Sorry, what was that charge?
Domestic assault.
Domestic assault, thank you.
You're welcome. There's no disposition listed, so the case appears to be open. He has a 2011 domestic battery conviction out of Illinois, along with a disorderly conduct. He has a 2010 conviction out of North Carolina for battery on a female and injury to personal property. And then a 2010 conviction out of North Carolina for larceny. And nothing further to that.
Okay. All right, ASG Williams.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, in this case, on November 21st of 2022, Officer Noel responded to the area of 1231 Peachtree Street regarding a male assaulting a female and her child at the Hampton Hotel and Suite by Hilton. Upon arrival, he met with the victim, Miss Erica White. She advised that she had been dating the defendant for a few months, ended up pregnant, and did have a child by him. She does reside out of state and was in town in order for him to meet his son. They stayed at the Hampton Inn and Suite Hotel and got into an argument about the relationship and the baby, and the defendant, being upset, punched Miss White in her face, causing swelling and redness to her face that was observed by Officer Noel. The baby, who was on her at the time, he even took his hand and pressed the baby's head with his hand during the argument, sort of like a mush, I believe is what they would call it, causing 2 red marks on the baby's head. The state recommends on this charge on the battery family violence, a $5,000 good bond, Your Honor, a no further contact with Erica White, anger management awareness, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And as to the battery charge, an additional $5,000 good bond and no further contact with the infant. Your Honor, with his history, he definitely has a very high likelihood of reoffense with previous convictions for domestic battery, domestic assault, and batteries on a female. So we do ask for a $5,000 good bond on each charge, Your Honor.
All right. PD Coleman.
Your Honor, I would be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Jackson, or in lieu of that, a low bond. He is 38 years of age. He does reside here in the Atlanta area. He is a college graduate from Robert Morris College in Chicago. He is currently employed as director of Fin and Feathers Restaurant. He acknowledges he is the father of that one child. I will remind the court at this time that these are just allegations against Mr. Jackson. Again, we will be requesting a signature bond or in lieu of that, a low bond.
And Your Honor, the state reiterates that he is currently on bond for an open case at this time.
Okay. All right, I am going to order a $7,500 surety bond, which will be $5,000 on the battery, family violence, and $2,500 on the battery for a total of $7,500. I am going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from 1231 Peachtree Street at the Hampton Hotel. And no further contact with the victim, Erica White. And we didn't have initials for the minor.
LW.
LW, okay. No further contact with the minor child, LW. And I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Position 2 and 3, Mr. Gamble.
Okay. And it looks like state with 2 and 3, these are 2 different victims, 2 different cases.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll do them one at a time. First case being position 2, 23 CR 000-245A. Marcus Gamble, you're charged with 1 count of battery, family violence. The offense date is September the 29th, 2020. Pretrial.
He has 6 cycles. Last arrest was in 2015 out of Cobb County for a probation violation. He has a 2014 conviction for a simple battery and criminal trespass. That was out of Cobb County. And he had 1 other conviction from 2008 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And nothing further.
Okay. Nope. ASG, sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. We will have to amend this charge. It will still be battery family violence. However, the victim in this case, as we just received the report, the victim's name is TWA apostrophe NYIA, and last name is Holmes. The victim and her mother, Miss Risha Brooms, they actually went down to the Zone 3 precinct and filed a formal complaint against this defendant. The victim informed officers that while she was in her room, the defendant barged into the room while she was only wearing a towel and began fighting with her. The victim, she defended herself, and also her sister jumped in the fight to try to fight off the defendant. The defendant struck the sister and also struck the victim with his fist and an extension cord, and him hitting her with that cord left a scalp on her back. Your Honor, we've heard from pretrial regarding the history. This defendant does have violence in his history. He has that simple battery, guilty conviction out of Cobb, and he also had a criminal damage to property that was a felony. He also has that probation violation as well. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond in this case, no contact with the victim, a 1-day anger awareness, a stay away from 1145 Penn Court in Atlanta, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
All right. PD Coleman.
Your Honor, regarding the first case ending in 245A, it appears that warrant is expired. It was issued in September of 2020. Of course, now we're in 2023. That warrant is expired. So I ask that that case be dismissed or that Mr. Gamble be given a signature bond on that case. Regarding the other case, I will be requesting a signature bond, or in lieu of that, a no bond. Mr. Gamble is 35 years of age. He does have an address here in Atlanta, Fulton County. He is a high school graduate, the father of one child, age 1. He is not working, therefore he has no money to post for bond. It looks like his last conviction was back in 2014 for a simple battery. That was over 8 years ago, nothing since. We would be requesting a signature bond based on his limited criminal history.
And Your Honor, regarding the first case, position 2, per the judicial emergency, we have also filed that with the states, or I'm sorry, with the court. So the statute of limitations is not up. In fact, it has been extended by the court. And regarding the second case, I haven't presented that. Would you like me to go ahead?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead and do the second case, and then I'll rule on both.
Okay. Your Honor, the second case happened yesterday at a Chevron located at 507 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Khadijah, that's Khadijah, last name Ray. In this case, the defendant was actually seen on camera arguing with the victim. The defendant then threatened to slap her and proceeded to do so. The victim then fell to the ground and she sustained swelling and bleeding to her left ear. And also the defendant did admit to slapping the victim. So, Your Honor, this is the second battery case that's on your calendar regarding this very same defendant. He has 2 victims. So he does present a risk of reoffending. In this case, we are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with this victim, a stay away, 1-day anger awareness, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
All right. All right, on the first case ending in 245A with the offense date of 9/29/2020, I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order is it stay away from 1145 Penn Court?
Yes, Your Honor.
And no further contact with the victims. Someone, I guess, is it with the last name of Brooms or Combs?
Brooms.
Brooms. And that was it Risha Brooms?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Your Honor, that was the victim that we alleged in the accusation. However, after we received the report, I also wanted to include, her name is TWA apostrophe NYIA, and last name is Holmes.
Okay, that was the other person.
Yes.
All right. And then no further contact with this Twanaya Combs as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then on the second case, ending in 246A, I'm going to order a $2,000 surety bond and a stay away from the Chevron at 507 to Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard.
Yes, Your Honor.
And no further contact with the victim, Khadijah Ray. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. My computer was messing up. Could you repeat that again?
Yes, $2,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Chevron at 507 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. No further contact with the victim, Khadijah Ray. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
All
Nothing
right,
further.
thank you.
Position 8, Mr. Shannon. Come over here. Oh, I see that. Yeah.
This is case number 23 CR 0000242F. Michael Shannon, you're charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting, offense date January the 10th, 2023. Pretrial.
He has 25 cycles. Last arrest was September 21st of 2022 for criminal trespass and possession and use of drug-related object out of Fulton County. That was a misdemeanor conviction as of October 6, 2022. He appears to be on probation out of Fulton County for trafficking in cocaine, entering auto, and possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Case number 14 SC 127737. Disposition was in 2015. 5 years to serve, 15 years probation. 5 years to serve, 10 years probation. He has a 2019 conviction for 3 counts of possession of cocaine, 2019 conviction for entering auto, a 2018 conviction for escape, a 2014 conviction for possession of tools during the commission of a crime, a 2013 conviction for theft by shoplifting, 2011 conviction for simple battery and simple battery family violence. He had an FTA from 2013, a total of 7 probation violations, and I believe 2 parole violations, and nothing further.
All right.
Miracle Williams for the state, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, in this case, on January 10th of this year, Officer Sawyers was dispatched to the area of 720 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway Northwest due to a shoplifter. Upon arrival, he spoke with Mr. Bashwani, which is the service station clerk at the time, who stated that he observed a black male wearing a black hooded jacket, black t-shirt, and gray jeans walk inside the store and take multiple cases of beer before walking out without paying for the items. On the video footage, it showed that the defendant put a stick down to prevent the entrance of the door from closing as he entered. He went to the clerk, then to the refrigerator, took those cases, and then walked out the door. The state's recommendation on the theft by shoplifting is a $4,000 surety bond and a stay away from 720 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. And with his history, Your Honor, he does show a high likelihood of absconding as well as reoffense with 25 cycles. There are multiple arrests for other theft-related charges, including those mentioned by pretrial in 2008, 13, 14, 16, subsequent entering autos, and the open cases that he has now.
Okay. PD Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Shannon is 29 years of age. He has been a Georgia resident all of his life. Mr. Shannon did have some family here, but unfortunately, he recently lost his grandmother and mother back in 2020. Speaking with Mr. Shannon, he expressed that right after that, he fell on hard times. He has been homeless and recently has been trying to get back on his feet. He did express that he just obtained employment. He has started working at the Cookout on Northside Drive. He's been there for the past 2 weeks and is learning how to be a cashier and cook, Your Honor. Currently, given that he just started employment and the lack of his family now since the recent passing, he does not have any further financial assistance and cannot afford bail. Mr. Shannon currently has a $600 bond on this current offense. I am asking for a signature bond, but if the court is not inclined, I will ask that the current bond of $600 remain as set.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order a $2,500 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the 720 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway address. Stay away from I'm sorry, and then no further contact with the victim, Mr. Bashwani. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And anything else council need to take up?
Nothing
Nothing
further.
further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Shannon, do you have a question about your bond conditions? It's about the only question I can answer.
Yes, I do, ma'am. I mean, yes, I do. Yes, I do, Your Honor. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, but
Yes, Your
let's
Honor.
see if your attorney wants you to talk. Is a question about bond conditions? Because don't make any statements against your interest. Your attorney's gonna tell you that.
Oh, yes, it's a question about bond condition, because I was unable to pay $600. I was unable to pay the $600 to get me out of jail already. I mean, and I was recently just getting unemployed. I mean, I want to let this describe my future, so I mean, I'm unable to pay the $600. So why would it, I'm be more definitely unable. I'm gonna be more definitely unable to pay that bond. That's what I'm saying, Your Honor. And I have no help, period. I have nobody to help me. So I was asking you to please, could y'all please help? Could y'all please give me a signature bond on a $600 bond to let me go so I can continue to work? And I mean, I have nothing. I have nothing.
Right, I understand, but I can't give you the signature bond on the 600 or the 6,000. All I can do is what I will do. I mean, you do have the criminal history, the convictions, things of that nature. So I have to look at that and whether or not you're going to return to court.
Yes, I will, Your Honor. Yes, I will, Your Honor. If you give me a chance, I would return to court. I mean, I would make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to continue to be in the free world, because I have no chance out there with nothing. I'm just trying to get a chance at the freedom and live my life. That's it, Your Honor. I'm just trying to get a chance at freedom and live my life.
I understand, but we can't have the allegations of criminal activity in the midst of that.
Yes,
And that, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
listening to the allegations, and I know, that they are just merely allegations at this point of you going into the store stealing beer. So we can't have you doing that and making sure that you're not going to do that again.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So what I can do is I can lower it to 1,500.
But I still, that's what I'm telling you, Your Honor. Look, Leon, I still have nobody to pay my bond, and I'm just asking you, may you please give me a signature bond, Your Honor. That's it. I have no one to help me out. No one. I'm just getting a job. I like my job so much. I'm just trying to get a signature bond, Your Honor, please.
Where are you working?
At the cookout,
It's working at the cookout.
Northside Drive. They teach me how to prepare the foods, the call outs, how to work the register. So I'm liking my job, and I'm liking to, I like to purchase my own stuff. I'm learning how to buy my own financial stuff. Learning.
How long have you been there?
Like the past 2 weeks.
All right, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm
Your
going
Honor,
to
the state would like to reiterate the escape charge as well, Your Honor. That shows that even given the opportunity there at the Fulton County Jail, Your Honor, he would probably leave as before. So with all of the charges, allegations, convictions, as well as open charges, we do ask that you hold your initial bond and not issue a signature bond in this case, Your Honor.
All right, what I'll do, and I do hear you, Mr. Shannon, and I am concerned and want you to keep your job and hopefully to become a very productive citizen in society. And I believe that is certainly important. But I do hear the state's argument as well. You had 25 cycles, you've got some convictions there. And I wrote down some probation violations too. So the best that I'm going to be able to do is I will give you a $1,000 surety bond. And I will, again, the other conditions are to stay away from 720 Donald Lee Hollowell and Mr. Baswani, but I will lower it to $1,000 surety bond. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're on bond. All right. That will be the order of the court. Who do we have next?
Should be position number 10.
We're ready with position number 10, please.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000247C, Nicholas Taylor. You're charged at 1 count of criminal trespass and a 2nd count of theft of service. The offense date is January the 13th, 2023. Pre-trial?
He has 9 cycles. His last arrest was October of 2022 for criminal trespass and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That case appears to be, he appears to be on probation for that case, 22 CR 0000710Y. Disposition was October 20th, 2022, 12 months probation. He has an FTA from 2019, another FTA from 2019, and a conviction for giving false information to law enforcement officers. That was also from October of 2022, and nothing further.
Okay.
Mayor Williams for the state, Your Honor. On this case, the defendant was caught at the Ritz Hotel in room number 518. The Ritz Hotel is located at 181 Peachtree Street, Northeast Atlanta. He was actually in the room of Karen Ferguson, who was a guest at the Ritz Hotel at the time where the defendant was found. She advised that she had left her room around 9 a.m. and when she got back around 5, she tried to get into her room but was unable to because her room was locked from the inside. Ms. Ferguson went to the front desk, reported the issue, and was issued a new key 3 times, thinking that the key just wasn't working. However, after it didn't work, security and the police were called, and the defendant was found in the room. He advised he went in the room behind housekeeping for sleep and drinks, telling the housekeeper at the time that it was his room. The state's recommendation in this case on the criminal trespass is a $2,500 good bond, a stay away from 181 Peachtree Street, Northeast, and Ms. Karen Ferguson. As for the theft of services, we ask for a $2,500 good bond and aforementioned stay away.
Okay. PD Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Taylor is 26 years of age. He has been a Georgia resident for several years now. He did express to me that he has lost contact with his family. Mr. Taylor has unfortunately been homeless for quite some time. I believe he was employed maybe 3 years ago before he fell on hard times. So he does not have the financial means to make any bond. So, Your Honor, essentially any bond for him is going to be a no bonds. I would be asking for a signature bond, but if Mr. Taylor is not eligible for one, then I would be asking for a bond amount no more than 1,000. No more than 1,000. That would be 500 on each count. The criminal trespass and theft of services. Obviously, we are unopposed to the stay away, and Mr. Taylor has no relationship with the alleged victim, so we are unopposed to no further contact. But again, given Mr. Taylor's lack of financial support, lack of finances, I am asking for a signature bond or a low bond amount. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order a surety bond, and that amount on the first charge will be $2,000 on the criminal trespass, and then the theft of services, $1,000, so a total of $3,000 surety bond. So that's 2,000 and 1,000. I'm sorry, Ms. Bridgewater.
For a total of 3,000.
Yes.
Okay.
3,000 surety bond, stay away from the Ritz-Carlton at 181 Peachtree Street, Northeast. And of course, no further contact with the victim, Karen Ferguson. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did we decide what we was gonna do with Mr. Boyce? He was on the pull sheet. He was on the pull sheet, but wasn't on the calendar. And I asked earlier if we needed him or not.
Spell the last name.
Boyce. First name is Albert. Booking number 2300695.
And Your Honor, the state is going to ask if his case can be reset to, it's a magistrate issue. So if we could have a reset on that one.
Okay.
Your Honor, if it's gonna be reset, I would be requesting a signature bond for Mr. Boyce.
And what's the charge?
It looks like it's operating without a valid permit. I saw an FTA, and then I'm sorry, I forget what the other charge was.
It was invalidation.
Invalidation. I'm not exactly sure what that is.
And Your Honor, to make things a little simpler, we will, the state will consent to a signature bond in this case.
Okay. Anyone have recommendations? It's 3 charges or 2?
Well, it's 2 charges and an FTA. I don't know what happened with the FTA. I think it just goes away since it's well, I guess it's tantamount to a warrant, and he is in court on it. So
Turned himself in. Yeah.
right.
And
I would have recommend 1,000 each signature bond.
and no objection from the state on that.
Okay. All right, so we will order the $2,000 signature bond. I'm assuming pretrial doesn't have any criminal history on this case since it wasn't on the calendar. Ms. Sorry, do you have any at all? Okay.
I do have his history.
And what did you say, Ms. Roberts? I'm sorry.
I said I do have it.
Oh, you do have it. Okay.
Yes. He has 31 cycles. I haven't went through it, so I'll be moving a little slow.
Right.
Last arrest was May of 2022 out of Cobb County for driving while license suspended or revoked. He does appear to be on probation out of Fulton County for identity theft fraud, 17 SC 149806. 10 years probation starting January 2018. He has a 2012 conviction out of Cobb County for ag assault, willful obstruction, false imprisonment, obstruction or entering, person making emergency telephone call. That was 10 years probation from 2012. So it looks like that probation has been completed. Last FTA I'm seeing is in 1998. Aggravated assault conviction in 99. And then the rest of his 16 cycles go beyond 1999.
Okay.
Your Honor, specifically to this case, he does have a 2018 citation for no food service permit. So we do believe that is the case that's the same charge for the case that's in front of you today. That was a guilty conviction and he paid a fine. So again, the state does not object to a $1,000 signature bond on each count regarding this case.
Okay. All right, that answers my questions as well. So I will grant the $2,000 signature bond, $1,000 on each charge. Since the state and the PD are in agreement on that, I will order that there should be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, Mr. Boyce. And
Your Honor, we would ask, not a stay away. However, we would ask that he does not operate as a business without a business license, specifically no selling food.
Yes, you hear that, Mr. Boyce? Don't operate any businesses or.
I got my current license already.
Okay, all right. So
he asked me to do on this case September. I went to court in September. I just didn't get a court date to go back. Actually, I didn't get a court date. The reason I'm here, but I did get my license and stuff on my restaurant.
okay. All right, we'll follow the law and we won't see you again.
Yes, ma'am.
But, comply with the bond conditions for now.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Okay, if I'm waiting to get some information from Mr. Jordan so I could do up a bond order for you, Judge, to sign.
Right, yeah, I know. I'll give it a second, right? Because I know you didn't have that one.
Right. But in the meantime, if we want to go over the calendar, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so position number, well, first of all, the reset date again is January the 26th for the SAP calendar. Position number 1 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 2 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. And position 3 reset to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 4 is reset to the SAP calendar with a total $7,500 good bond. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 6, reset further notice, a $3,500 SOB through the jail. Position 7, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 8, reset to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Position 9 is going to the competency calendar on January the 26th with a $500 good bond. Position 10 reset to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. And position number 11 is reset further notice with a total $6,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
And then the one we just added.
And then I'm reading Albert Boyce.
Yes.
He has a $2,000 total SOB through the jail. Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
I have one question.
Yes.
I'm looking at this chat from Mr. Jordan. I understand there are 2 charges. I see one is a failure to appear, but then the other one is operate without a valid permit.
Well, there are a total of 3.
Oh,
So do we
3
need
is
to
what
set
he
up
said.
a bond on the failure to appear as well? Is that what he's indicating?
Yes, that's what he's indicating. There are 3 charges, right?
So we could
Okay.
give just another.
So he
So
has
we
a
just-
failure to appear hold on his jail screen, so he's gonna need a bond for that charge.
Yeah, so we could just get another $1,000 signature bond on that as well.
No objection from the state.
No objection? Okay.
Okay, so let me get this clear. We have a failure to appear. And then we have operating without a valid permit and invalidation. And what is the other one?
That's 3. Failure to appear is 1. Operating without a valid license is 2. And then invalidation is 3.
Okay, got it. Thank you all. Okay.
Right. And so we'll add that other 1,000 on the
Okay, so to be a
I'll do
total.
that on the FTA, Mr. Jordan. Because I don't know if there was already an amount set on there or not.
That should do it, Judge.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right. So it's 3,000.
Okay, that's it.
All right.
Judge will be
All
coming
right.
to you in just a minute.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you.
Have a nice holiday
All
on
right.
Monday.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. You too.
Make sure it's a day on and not a day off.
A day, I know, right?
Okay.
All right, everybody.
It's a
Bye-bye.
day on for me. I'll see y'all Monday.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Failure to appear. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.